This year that meant skipping a few signature events. I might skip less next year. I might skip the same amount. I don't know, but it's all just the luxury of being a PGA Tour player is we are free to pick and choose our schedule for the most part. And I took advantage of that this year, and I'll continue to take advantage of that for as long as I can.
In professional golf, real shakeups are rare. Most seasons arrive quietly, following a familiar pattern. New schedules are announced. Sponsorships get renewed behind closed doors. Carefully worded press releases circulate, creating little more than a soft ripple in the news cycle. The sport moves forward, steady and predictable. But heading into 2026, that rhythm was shattered. The calm was broken in a way no one expected. Rory McIlroy didn't make a minor career adjustment or quiet strategic tweak. He made a move that sent a jolt through the entire PGA Tour. It wasn't reckless. It wasn't emotional. It was precise, calculated, and impossible to ignore. The moment the decision became public, the tone of golf conversations everywhere changed. Fans, analysts, executives, and even fellow players began asking the same question almost instantly. What does this mean for the future of men's professional golf? Because when Rory McIlroy makes a move, the entire sport feels it. At a time when most people expected another calm, predictable season one filled with familiar champions, standard storylines, and polished press conferences, McIlroy chose disruption. His decision wasn't about chasing another trophy or padding his resume. It was about power, influence, and shaping what professional golf will look like for years to come. Executives were forced to rethink strategy. Sponsors had to reassess long-term alignment. Rivals quietly recalculated their own paths. What made the move even more striking was the timing. McIlroy entered 2026 not as a player searching for respect, but as one who had already earned it. The foundation for this moment was built in 2025, a season that changed everything. After more than a decade of heartbreak, close calls, and unfinished business, McIlroy finally slipped on the green jacket at Augusta. With that victory, he completed the career Grand Slam, joining one of the most exclusive clubs in golf history. It wasn't just another major win. It was the final piece of a legacy puzzle that had followed him his entire career. That Masters victory wasn't just personal redemption. It was release. For years, Augusta had been a weight on his shoulders, the one question that never went away. Every April brought pressure, expectation, and scrutiny. When McIlroy finally conquered it, that weight vanished instantly. For the first time in a long time, he wasn't chasing history. He was standing inside it. That mental shift changed everything. When a player stops competing to prove something and starts competing with full freedom and confidence, the energy transforms. And that transformation showed throughout the rest of 2025. Instead of slowing down or coasting on satisfaction, McIlroy surged forward. The Masters wasn't the end of his run. It was the ignition. He followed Augusta with elite performances across the global schedule. Wins on both sides of the Atlantic. Dominant stretches in world-class fields. A commanding presence in the race to Dubai. Week after week, McIlroy delivered with consistency, control, and clarity. By season's end, he wasn't just successful, he was undeniable. Year-end honors piled up. Peer respect became universal. Analysts called it one of the most complete seasons of his career. By every measure, 2025 wasn't just memorable, it was historic. But dominance brings a different kind of pressure. As the calendar turned toward 2026, McIlroy wasn't just another elite competitor. He had become the standard, the reference point. Sponsors looked to him for leadership. The PGA Tour leaned on him for stability. Every appearance carried expectation. Every decision sent a message. This was no longer just about managing a personal legacy. This was about shaping the environment of the entire sport. And that's the detail that made what came next so significant. McIlroy didn't step into 2026 as a passive superstar waiting to see how things unfolded. He entered as a figure of influence, fully aware that when you stand at the top of your sport, every move creates ripples far beyond the fairways. So what exactly did he do? It wasn't a swing change. It wasn't a new coach. It wasn't a quiet contract extension negotiated in private. Instead, McIlroy made a bold, public commitment that ran directly against the trend dominating modern professional golf. While many top players have been scaling back schedules, focusing only on majors, limiting appearances, and carefully managing longevity, McIlroy went the opposite direction. He went all in. Reports confirm that McIlroy signaled full support for the PGA Tour's 2026 vision, a vision built around a restructured calendar, expanded signature events, and experimental formats designed to modernize the sport. Rather than picking a handful of appearances or treating non-majors as optional, he positioned himself at the center of the tour's next era. This wasn't nostalgia. It wasn't loyalty out of habit. It was alignment. The 2026 PGA Tour calendar represents a major shift. Signature events now carry greater weight. Player commitments are being scrutinized more than ever. Team-based concepts and tech-enhanced formats are stepping into the spotlight as part of the tour's long-term survival strategy. And McIlroy isn't watching this evolution from a distance. He's anchoring himself right at its core. That decision alone separated him from the modern superstar mold. Most elite golfers protect time, limit exposure, and avoid becoming the public face of institutional change. McIlroy chose the opposite. He chose visibility. He chose accountability. And by doing that, he linked his personal brand not just his performance, but to the success or failure of the PGA Tour's evolving structure. That's where the real risk lies. If the new schedule proves too demanding, if experimental formats struggle to connect with fans, or if engagement doesn't grow as projected, McIlroy's name will be tied directly to the outcome. He didn't wait to see how things played out. He committed before the results were known. In professional sports, that level of belief is rare. This wasn't just about choosing tournaments. It was a statement about direction. McIlroy didn't simply bet on himself as a golfer. He bet on the future of the PGA Tour itself. And when an athlete of his stature makes that kind of commitment, the impact becomes structural. The reaction was immediate and deeply divided. Within hours, debates exploded across broadcasts, podcasts, and social media. Analysts dissected every quote. Retired players weighed in with strong opinions. Fans split into camps, some praising his leadership, others questioning the gamble. Behind the scenes, tension grew. Executives held private conversations. Players quietly wondered if McIlroy's stance would pressure others to follow. If the sport's biggest name was committing publicly, could anyone afford to stay neutral? McIlroy, meanwhile, remained calm. No long defenses. No emotional counterpunches. His confidence spoke louder than words, making his position feel even stronger. As the season schedule took shape, his name appeared across nearly every major event. Signature tournaments, experimental formats, high-profile showcases. His presence became an unofficial stamp of approval. That visibility came with both power and danger. If the tour's new direction thrives, McIlroy may be remembered as a visionary who helped redefine modern golf. If it stumbles, the spotlight could turn harsh. Either way, the sport is no longer standing still. As 2026 unfolds, the divide inside professional golf is impossible to ignore. Some players quietly admire McIlroy's courage. Others worry about the concentration of influence. Agents and sponsors recalibrate strategies, try and predict where momentum will land. Media outlets go into overdrive. Deep dives, specials, bold headlines asking whether Rory McIlroy is redefining leadership or risking too much for a vision still taking shape. Through it all, his play remains electric. Confident interviews, strong finishes. The same intensity that drove him to the Grand Slam now fuels something bigger than personal legacy. This time, the stakes are about the entire ecosystem of golf. Rumors swirl about an upcoming partnership with a global tech brand, potentially launching a groundbreaking digital tournament format. And once again, McIlroy's name sits at the center of the conversation. Love him or question him, one thing is undeniable. Rory McIlroy has become golf's lightning rod. He didn't choose comfort. He chose influence. And as golf enters a new era, he stands at its heart, driving the conversation, shaping the future, and proving that leadership at the highest level of sport still matters.